Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the North Node in the 8th house in a natal horoscope. Well, as most of you know, the North Node is something which is connected with our soul's mission or purpose, and something that we generally will emphasize, say, after the age of 30 or in the second half of our lives, basically. And the South Node is something I refer to as something like the redundant spot in the horoscope, something that we may have accentuated maybe a little too much and overemphasized, and possibly to our detriment. So anyway, people, one thing I would look at with this placement is that there may need to be a detachment from material possessions to some degree. Person might have been a little bit somewhat acquisitive maybe in the first half of their life, maybe dominated by material possessions, generating money, may have been too much of an emphasis on this and not enough attention paid to perhaps maybe even a sexual partner, or things that are more about perhaps another's resources, or another's resources in this, I guess we could say this time around, may figure somewhat prominently in the second half of the person's life, because this person might have to come to terms with his or herself and state that maybe he or she can't necessarily do everything himself or herself. There might have been much focus on being self-reliant and this overemphasis on being independent, saying, I'm going to do this myself. I'm not going to get any assistance from anybody else. Where the reality is, the person, perhaps their sexual partner, might be somebody that might be able to assist them to some degree. And it's not necessarily saying the person can't be self-reliant or independent. It's just about knowing that and being cognizant of the fact that this person may need some assistance. And perhaps we look at this placement, the 8th house is connected with transformation and regeneration, and perhaps this is something where this person can transform, or I guess we could say go through something kind of regeneration, perhaps even through the sexual partner. 8th house is connected with inheritances. Now, this is not to necessarily say that this person is going to emphasize getting inheritance from someone else. However, maybe this person needs to, instead of emphasizing their own money as far as their own worth goes, maybe they have procrastinated on perhaps making a will and setting something up for family members in the event that, well, not the event, the eventuality that they will die at some point, and have something, money may just put aside for others, is something that may need to be emphasized. We look at this placement, it's connected with taxes, insurance. Perhaps this person in the first part of their life was emphasizing trying to save money, and may have had some tax liabilities or issues, and may not have emphasized their taxes maybe as strong as maybe they would have liked to. And as far as insurance goes, maybe there were matters connected with insurance that had been delayed. Maybe they had some payment on some home insurance or something connected with insurance of some kind, that where there was some kind of delayed, and they had procrastinated on making certain payments with this perhaps. And the second part of the person's life, it's about getting on these things and making sure that these things are taken care of. Look at this placement, and the main thing above everything else is, like I stated before, it's about getting out of maybe that state where maybe the person, I don't know if this is the right word, but somewhat dogmatic regarding their values, and maybe a very fixed view on this, and in going out and trying, doing more with as far as perhaps a sexual partner, and understanding, maybe coming to grips with the greater values, or what values are really important perhaps through this partner, and to get away from just everything about being acquiring possessions, about materialism, about generating income, and in thinking that anything of a monetary nature has to be done maybe by his or herself, that there may be times where this person might need some assistance and maybe need another's resources to some degree, or resources I should say, and this is not necessarily exclusive to a sexual partner. It's possible, since the 8th house is associated with occult, astrology, supernatural, perhaps this person might have some aspiration connected with this, or aspirations connected with this, or even some kind of investigation, police work, might be some kind of calling in the latter part of the person's life, say after the age of 30. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the North Node in the 8th house in the natal chart. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the North Node in the 9th house in the natal horoscope. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis on a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.